Session, we are on Zoom. Today is the regular board meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Guahan Academy Public Schools. Today's the 9th of November, Tuesday. Call the meeting to order 11:22. I proceed with the roll call. Roll call. Adiza, Trustee
Here I am.
Trustee Lou, President, Trustee Rosie, to the Tongo. Able to come in? And somebody try to notify Trustee Tongo if you wanted to come in and join us. But is you ready? We are echoing. Pastor, give us two slots.
I'm here.
I know, but you're. Oh, we don't know. Pastor, give us slots.
Oh, you're pretty for Mr. Giza.
Kind of phone, right? You have to be here. So, you know, my yeah, we have a okay, we can proceed. We have a call. We will wait for Trustee Tongo to call.
He's saying that we're not.
There's more than three. More than three. Oh, more than three. Okay, so we do have a quorum. There's four of the trustees that are here. Approval of the minutes. Did everybody read the minutes of Tuesday, September 21, 2021? May I hear a motion to the minutes of Tuesday, September 21 of board. I will motion to the minutes of September 21, 2021. Thank you. There's a motion on the floor. I need a second to approve the minutes of the 21st regular board meeting, September 21st. Do I have a second? Pastor Pisa, you're on mute. Unmute yourself, please. Unmute.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Another minute session held on September 30th, 2021. Motion to approve.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Motion on the floor. I need a second.
And then it starts doing that.
Trustee Lou? You seconded? Seconded by Trustee Lou Nicholas. Thank you very much. Okay, motion carried. We did vote. Can you guys vote on those two motions? Aye. Trustee Evelyn, aye. Trustee Artiza, aye. Trustee Lou? Trustee Lou? Trustee Lou? Thank you. Aye. The chair votes. Okay. Calendar and online classes. Am I having the acting CEO on this, or who's going to be on this?
I am.
Okay, go ahead, acting CEO. Please.
Okay, good morning, everyone. As of today, we have to mute the. Yeah. Okay. Okay, as of yesterday, we met our quota of the number of students that are allowed to come for our face-to-face and we're looking at Monday, November 15th. Is actually our mid-quarter time of second quarter. So we are expecting our face-to-face students to come Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays when we have classes, because on our approved calendar, our first and third Fridays are our PD days. And then our online students will be coming on board on Tuesday, Thursdays, and then on the Fridays that they're scheduled. So at this point, we are prepared to contact bus operations to let them know and give them a copy of our calendar. So they'll be prepared to start, picking up our students for our face-to-face classes.
Are the coordination done with PCW, right?
Yes.
That would be the same process?
Yeah.
Face-to-face today, have to be picked up and dropped off
at the interchange, the same, and then they will be dropped.
Same process. Yeah.
Yes. So the time again will be 7:45 to 3 o'clock.
Is that anything different from what we used to have before?
No.
Okay. So no confusion to the parents.
The time is the time is the same, but the actual curriculum, because we want our students. Last year, fourth quarter, we only had one contact day because we had a block schedule. So this time the teachers got together and decided that at least if they're going to come in Monday, Wednesdays, they'll be meeting all classes, all 7 classes with 50 minutes. So they'll have about 3 days out of the week, and same thing with the online.
Wonderful. So, anything else?
I just want to get the permission that it is a go now. It's approved to go ahead and send out an official letter to inform the parents and then DPW about the busing.
So just a clarification. There will be no more
hard copies. This coming Friday is the last GGL.
Oh, okay. That's what.
Okay, so that's your update on the calendar,
Yes, ma'am.
Lucy's here. That's Rosie.
Yes, I'm on now. Go ahead.
Fresh Lucy is in yeah, we want to speak 11:21. We have done, so far we have done approval of the minutes of September 21 and September 30th. So calendar was also given, and we were given briefing by Santa Maria. I was unmuted. Yeah. Ako ba? Just Rosie. So far, we are still on we finished on the approval of the minutes of September 21st and September 30th. So we also just got a briefing on the online class schedule and the face-to-face classes. Now we're going to go to the acting CEO's report on federal grants, etc. Are you with us? Are you okay? Can you hear us?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Madam Faye, I just wanted to add on that we had public health come by because we submitted our in-class operations, and they approved our plans for face-to-face instruction. Okay, so everyone has a hard copy. Ms. Rosie, we will have a copy for you when you stop by the school.
Okay. I'll get one, or maybe give it to Mark if you don't mind, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Acting CEO, please proceed on the other items that we have on the agenda today. Thank you.
At this point, we have the federal grant. The first item will be the federal grant ESF2 and ARP, and I'll go ahead and refer this to our acting HR procurement officer. Ms. Jamie?
Yes, so out of the two grants, ESF2, hold on, sorry, one moment. So ESF2, out of the budget of 2 million, about 700,000 is already in the procurement process. They have been requisitioned. We're pending the POs for those. We actually do have POs for some. ARP is the next project. That's the one that the budget is 4 million. So nothing has been procured under that yet. So that's what we're working on next.
Any timeline on the ARP to get our procurement over to GDOE?
I'm sorry?
Is there any timeline for us to be able to put together all our requests under the ARP? See, Pastor Artisa is nodding his head. That means
Yes, yes, the funds expire next year. So before the next board meeting, I'll have an update on ARP.
Okay, thank you.
But yes, we're making sure we're not losing out on utilizing the whole amount of the budget.
Okay, how about the SF? Are we almost done? We are done. We cannot be using anymore except for the outstanding merchandise or items that need to be taken, or just the requisitions that we have pending. Other than that, we have no more cost to spend any more money. In other words, the time is expired on the ESF to recertification anymore.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, it's ESF1 that expired. So right now we have ESF2.
Okay, thank you. So ESF1 and ESF2 exhausted. I understand that that's all done, right? So we're working on the ARP money now.
ESF2 about half. So we requisitioned about 700,000 out of the 2 million for ESF2.
So you still have a balance.
And this one just started in the beginning of October.
Good. So it's not exhausted. ESF2 is not exhausted. Thank you. That's very clear.
Not yet.
Thank you. Okay. Modular classroom repair done?
Okay, at this point, ma'am, we have the minor repairs, and we also have ongoing damaged leaks on the ceilings by Cortec. They're working on those particular projects. Other things are like the AC not cooling. So all of these have been reported. The main report that I would like to present is that we transferred the nurse's office and the isolation room to M108 to avoid the heavy traffic that's in the current area where it's at SSO. And we moved the counselors down where the former isolation room is at. So we're also waiting for the project to take place where they will divide the room in half so they will have the privacy for the elementary counselor and then the secondary counselor on the other side. At this point, we are still waiting for 3Js to address the isolation room in M108 where they put up the 3 different curtains, the heavy curtains like you see in the emergency room. So in the event that the students are sick, we are able to divide them and have 3 different rooms instead of just 1 room, and it will be more of a private area for each one. Okay. She's getting situated. We're waiting for the supplies and the equipment that she's requested to get herself ready for the opening.
That was my next question, just to make sure that she's well equipped. I should be over to the school, right?
Yes.
So yeah, we make sure that she's comfortable there. And those curtains are awful. Maybe you can order some shield-like partitions that are above, about certain height. So it prevents also transmittal or things like that. Those are very obsolete, but those are movable as well. We can have the same people that do this one, maybe you can go under the effort as well. It's clear, so the nurse doesn't have to be shielded from looking at the next patient. This is a see-through and a transparent divider that they can use after, to separate one bed from another. Okay, just make sure certain height as required by CDC, so it would be, one person can be separated, one patient can be separated from another. You only have two beds, right? That's interesting to see. I think we should take a walk over there and look at the setup. This is your isolation room in case of any sickness. That's a good renovation or quick fix that you can do. Okay, so that's the status of your modular classrooms. How about your building CD&E with person partitions? And
We requested this week at this point where Mr. LRT area is just too cluttered when it's not. We have the teachers lounge, and then we have the Xerox machine right there, and the students have to go through the discipline office with parents, and there was a fight, and they ended up going to speak everything going in. So I requested to move the discipline office to the back room where the cafeteria is at. We have the book room, but we were able to move half of that to the former dean's office, elementary up in the D room. We can use that area for now, and we're planning to just have. I'm sorry, I'm on mute.
we can hear you, but
One more time, yeah. We're planning to move the discipline office to the back room of the cafeteria and divide it in half. And we can have the assistant principal and the attendance officer together. And they can have like a receiving room where the parents can be received and students waiting right outside. We have this layout here that I'll provide for everybody. I'll see right here. And it's a more acceptable and confidential area too, in case that there's really issues with discipline. They're away from the teachers lounge and all the other offices that are there because it's just one way going in.
okay.
And we can go ahead and take a, field trip over there too, just to see exactly what we're talking about. And I know that Ms. Lee knows that discipline, once we have face-to-face, that's a heavy traffic area. Once kids start getting into some kind of situation with each other, we need to isolate the area.
Okay, then we probably, as long as those people that are being moved around,
Yes.
as far as like their areas are concerned, and the functionality of the areas are
Yes.
identified, we'll be okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what's the status on the DFD inspection? Are we still having issues with the the CDEF building?
We have
E building, not F, sorry.
we have a report here.
Are we all clear from fire?
There's actually issues here with the railing on the second floor. We have the E wing has the railing, but we still need to address C and D. I'm sorry, it's the other way around. C and D has the E wing still need to be addressed. The fire extinguisher. The fire extinguisher still needs to be mounted, and there is a policy there that we can have the fire extinguishers every 7 weeks, so we don't have to have one in every classroom. But if we do have the fire extinguishers, we're going to go ahead and provide that and have it mounted. And we also have to check and make sure that all of it is recharged. The exit sign also needs to be replaced in all the buildings. The field lights for the fire alarm need to be relocated to the beams of the building. The GSD also recommends all 3 fire panels be interconnected. So when they hear the alarm, every building will be there. It's not just one building that has the alarm going on.
Okay, so in that case, you have a safety officer here that needs to coordinate that, right? And also the landlord that would probably be able to help us in making sure that those specs are followed, because there's a whole bunch of that thing that has something to do with the way the owner of the building set up all those fire alarms. Because I understand there's some changes on how the fire alarm should be set up certain ways. I know that they have expressed their concern if we're able to engage other people outside the Tech company. So let's make sure that they get engaged. And if there's any cost that needs to be put it by the GACs outside what they can do in terms of their landlordship, then let's do it. But let's do it soon. I don't like this hanging in our head, because this is the fire issue. So let's get moving on that, and let's get and the board of trustees have an update hopefully by next week. Thank you. Just coordinate with Mr. Richard. I think these guys are very helpful in making sure that our building is always safe. Right? Okay, go ahead. Please go ahead, ACCL. Lift the membership.
The meeting membership we had a Zoom about a week ago, and we requested to have a contact event, and with that we also requested more training. So we have a copy and the proposal that we have to execute, and we have two options there that we provided. One is an on-site, under 27 to training content, have a full day, or you can have option to remote training through Zoom. And
it's not
there's something that it's preferable to have some kind of incentive for our teachers to come during every certain day. So if all possible, we can provide some type of stipend. But just by talking to the teachers, especially those that are on the list for the training, they prefer to have just a half day. A full day is just, I guess, because of the timing, Christmas, I don't think they want to put it, a full day training for 4 days. If anything for now, they're willing to do the sprint half day for 4 days.
Question, on the on-site training, are there minimum number of trainees that needs to attend, or vis-a-vis the remote training? Because I understand in the past that certain amount of participants can only join this training, right? I don't know, 25 to 1. That's a big difference, right? So the remote training is, I would assume, is Zoom training, right? And then your on-site training. If you look at the number of trainees that could be trained on remote training vis-a-vis on-site, I think it is a good investment to bring them in. If this is really the cost, right? Because then you'll have more attendees. I don't think you only need 14 to train. I'm quite sure there's going to be another batch or another set of group that needs to go in and get trained. So look at the numbers. At 21,000 on-site, that means you bring in the trainees, they go face-to-face with the trainees, and then that is, for me, is a lot more effective. On the remote training, I don't know about the timeline, because they're in a different time zone, right? Let's look at that. Justin, what do you think? On the on-site training, only you can get so much more people to attend, right? So you maxed out your dollars versus your remote training, which will only be at 14 maximum. There's a little bit of issue on the time zone, and I think we can max our money on this. Although they like only half days, but why not? Why not fast track this training? We're a little behind on this.
But the problem, ma'am, is the timing. The Christmas time is the teachers. Like I said, I've been talking to them, and I don't think they can commit the full day. It's not because they don't want to. It's just that their mindset because of the Christmas holidays. It's their Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah.
No. That's not the point even. 2020, 2018, 19, 20, we don't have any training at all. So it's really almost like a fast tracking of what we've not done the last 2 years, right? And it really kind of concerned me because if the teachers are saying our breaks are this, that needs to be on the break, etc., why don't we get a timeline on when things can be scheduled, and let's see if that really is affecting the Christmas holiday especially. I need to see the timeline when the schedule will happen. Is that anything that will kind of like carry over during the Christmas days that they're supposed to be off?
I believe I have asked for the information. Have you surveyed the teachers as to who's going to be available during this period of time?
Not sending out a hard copy, but just talking to a lot of them saying that we can do that to see whether they're available. Because unless with them are we able to mandate that they be a part of this training during their Christmas break? Because that's a different story.
If you mandate, you have to pay them. I know that.
Analyze it. How behind are you in some of the aspects of the DI? If you're comfortable that you can reschedule some of these for next year, I'm fine with that. But there is no solid report that the board has from anybody as to where we are on threat instruction. So if you survey X amount of faculty that wants to go in just to make sure to be able to use this special session that we're requesting from you. For me, it's maximizing the effort of everybody, time and money as well. If there's only a few and you can leave with doing this by next year, you guys have to tell us. You guys have to know.
Because we have a lot of new teachers.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that's the thing is that
they haven't done a quick work on how to be able to do and really actually explore the DI. The DI. Go ahead. You have to say that.
Yes, my other concern is, will the 4 half days really cover all of the components of the pre-service? If we're investing whatever the amount of money that is quoted here, we want to be sure that we get a commitment of the teachers. But I'm not sure whether the 4 half days really will cover all of the methodologies for the direct instruction, the pre-service components for the teachers. I'm wondering if it would be better to look at the possibility of having it during the summer with the commitment that these teachers that are going to be trained will actually return for school year 21-22. I mean, that's something that we want to be able to consider before we make any further commitment.
The nice thing about it is we have a proposal in our hand right now, right? We need really to, as what Stu said, get the survey going as to how many will be available. On the basis that this is available, and for those that can go or needs to go, I think you should do the selection, CEO, on this one, because you know pretty much who should really have it the first time around, right? So, and then you just have to bring them in and see what they have to say. I mean, they have to know it. They have to be taught about it. They have to be taught how to be able to do the GI curriculum if they want to come here as faculty. We are a charter school approved based on the DI curriculum. So we gotta be DI strong. So what is the desire of the board in this proposal? Pastor Lee?
If we're looking at, because of the holidays, the proposal details for the pre-service for option one, that means four full days of on-site as compared to option two, which will be 4 half days. So if we go with option one, are we going to be able to get all the teachers trained for 4 full days?
And what are those days? You see?
Well, right here, they actually,
What are the days? What are the days, please? Oh, okay. So would that be nice? That's after the half day already. Just approaching New Year. They should be able to find some. I'm just wondering why they're not able to do that.
Yeah, but the food is on 150.
Yeah, but see, that's more priority. So it's a little concerning for me because this should be a priority. If I have to come in here as a faculty, especially on the elementary level, where probably we don't have, we brought in a lot of new. Why emphasize that they have to go on the training early on? You know what we can do? Let us survey of how many has been on board with the formal training. We might have some guys here who've been here for 3 years, and maybe those will be the priority training because they've been in the system for so long, and they probably are already immersing into the VI program, but not having a formal training. Those are probably the easier one to go bring into formal training per se. For the 4.5, what is that, 4.5 hours a day? Because easy for them to absorb because they already had the bird and had their feet on the top, right? Let's get that survey going, and then we need to respond now and see whether this is something that we can, whether we have the second, the A, the B proposal, or the first proposal. But let's get the number and let's get them assessed, right? Like, for those that did it 3 years, it's almost important that they have to learn DI. I would say that is a big component of what they need to know if they really have to want to stay with the school, especially if they're doing elementary.
Yes. I will get that survey as soon as possible, and then I'll present it.
Okay. So that's where we are on the proposal of youth. I'm excited about it because we're coming back. But the membership, there are a lot of requirements on the membership again. Are we able to get the membership going, or they have requirements for us to go back for the membership? With that, CEO, any requirements?
At this point, no, this is all they presented. They sent to me, and I will get more details when I connect with them again.
I really would like to us also to consider supporting optional implementation support, that coaching and mentoring, and perhaps maybe we can identify those that can be trained to be coaches and mentors, and install our own capacity so that we don't become totally dependent on NIFTY to provide that.
Many years ago, we are able to get a regular coaching classes through NIFTY, and it just won't stop. So that's available as soon as we kick in the membership. But they'll give you this, and that was more regular basis, remember, right? And I'm just surprised now that we're not able to do any of those coaching. They do provide that. So we have.
Is there a reason why it stopped, man?
Well, the
last time was.
So when the membership was not paid, there were no more links to NIFTY until I started asking last year. So I said, what's going on with NIFTY? Because all of a sudden I don't see membership. But anyway, we'll also be wrapping up this NIFTY issue. We got to have the membership going. we got to get the survey going for all the faculty that's been here for the past 3 years that have not gone into the normal process of getting the NIFTY training. Okay, so give us a number, and then the board would choose whether we get option 1 or 2, depending on the number and the availability of our faculty, right? It's funny because they are making time for us, but it seems that we're not able to make time, and that's a little bit concerning for me. Because we really have to drive that issue that we need to get those guys BI trained.
So with that, ma'am, again, are we going to provide some kind of stipend for them to come in?
The stipends are always going to be provided anytime they are able to do over and beyond the normal hours of their working hours, right? So the extra hours that they do. I think that is something that can be provided for. It's not an issue because we have stipend account.
Okay. So I can get that amount. So when I write the survey, that'll be sort of like enticing them to that if they come for the full days, this will be what they will be getting.
Okay, so there's no issue on the stipend. It's just a matter of finding the amount that needs to be paid on some of these on the 4.5 hours of session each day. I'm quite sure that would be budgeted. I need to consult with the HR chair on this matter. There are funding available, but we need to explore issues of this as it's not over the beyond the dictates of an exempt employee. If they are exempt employee, these are definitely something that we might not be able to do because they are exactly what they are, exempt employees, unless we work them over and above the amount of time that they need to work. Okay, so we look at the schedules that we fit in, and I don't think.
Recording in
But the
progress.
money is what we don't want. We want to make sure that it's a smooth and easy use of that. Only because X amount of stipend money was appropriated or was in our budget. So that will be totally separate from what we have budgeted as stipend because we have code. We have also stipend that we pay. The other activities that we have, like I think the sports stipend and also the DI, which is also related to this one. So thank you. I think that's a great idea. We'll be able to make sure that CEO, please make sure that we have the numbers, the amount that needs to be set aside for this, so we can request that via the ARP or ESF remaining funding. And I think Trustee Santos had told us that the federal program office is willing to help us in pursuing some of our kind of like catching up with the DI program. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
You happy? Got you. You're happy, yeah? Thank you, Trustee Santos. Always nice to hear that those are something that we can help ourselves through the various federal programs available to us. Okay, annual report and accreditation.
Okay. I'll go ahead and have Ms. Ann Santiago, our program coordinator, go ahead and present.
Ms. Ann Santiago to be recognized, our program coordinator. Go ahead, you have the floor, Ms. Ann.
Hi, good morning. So I just would like to share the screen I have. hold on, please. The hard copies are given to Miss HA. You can also look at the hard copies. There's two for the organizational chart. One that was submitted to former CEO Dr. Wantat, based on all the meetings and of the leadership team, and another one that was created to adjust and refine more and address more of the some of the positions that we currently have. Let me just open up my screen.
Is Anne still on?
Okay, here you go.
She's putting out the annual report. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, first.
This one first.
Oh, the annual report.
This one already.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Annual report basically is already done. We submitted it to the hard copy. We emailed it on October 29th. And October 30th, and two of the senators already confirmed receipt. And then we also submitted the hard copy to DOA, and there we have the stamp received already for the annual report. Now we have the stamp received from the council already, and we have furnished hard copies for any of the board members to look at, and this is already posted on the website. On the CCR, the Citizen-Centric Report, we just have to update and plug in all the charts and the financials from the auditor. And then maybe next week we are done, and then we'll submit to you the final for your approval. So we can post it on the website as well.
Okay, that's good. Because this should follow after your audit. So
I think that's it, right?
yeah.
For
very
the
good.
contracts for DI and interscholastic coaches, we're currently working on the contracts. We're almost done with the athletic coaches and assistant coach for their service agreement, and we patterned it into the
DOE.
in such a way that is how federal service agreements are created, just like our stipends for the summer school teachers, so that it's indicated and everything is indicated. On the other hand, for the DI coaches, it's still being worked on by our DI coordinator, Ms. Eclevea, and Ms. H, I believe, is on it.
Can we have, ladies?
But we had our first meeting to discuss about the budget for it. So in the original budget, it's just like about 10, Ms. Badet our accountant put it as to estimate as to 10 coaches, DI coaches, but actually there's only 6 DI coaches that we have to compensate for their time. So we're currently fixing it so that the deliverables are all set and indicated, and Miss HA is on top of those meetings, so we can give a more specific service agreement for the DI coaches.
Okay. Can we get the timeline in
GTA cybersecurity. Originally, we had GTA already gave us a quote. Oh, Miss HA?
Excuse me. Can we have a timeline and all of this on the CCR? Because I'm getting nervous on this one. This should follow after your audit, right? I need to get this out after your audit is given to us. So next week, hopefully, Trustee Al, can you chime in on this? Because the centric report needs to be out as early as probably I was hoping this week, but you said next week. But when next week?
Supposedly, all the timeline should have been already prepared. Yeah, I should have. So I'm just waiting for them. Yeah, I know Miss AJ is on top of it.
Okay. We need to get that out. What is today? Today is Wednesday, Tuesday. hopefully we can get it out this week, like latest month. Pascal, what do you think?
Perhaps Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I wanted
Yeah.
out with
Sure.
an opening engagement. Okay, we have opening engagement
Okay.
already for tomorrow. They might ask us.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll get it out. We'll get it out.
So that's a proper sequence. To finish the audit, we sent the report to be done a few days after that. Okay, so anyway, uh, contract for DI, the interclass, I know the language, the verb, hopefully the board can see the language and what will be prepared. So you know what liability that the department will have in terms of doing all this prepared class of the That's also tied up with the CDM, right? Or rather with the cyber. That's also tied up. Is the answer here, right? Oh, there's so much buzzing. You can bring a lot of these here, huh? There you go. Miss Anne, let's just see.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's make sure that the contracts for DI intercholastic coaches, the languages that the board needs to review, and hopefully we can get that out soon, because that get held up for a long time. Now that you have it all, the verbiage and everything are there, can we get that out? And then, so it could be a legal piece of document where you can actually pay your stipend, because this is one of the bases on how you're able to justify paying your stipend for the DI and the interclassic coaches. Thank you. Okay, go ahead and proceed with the GTA cybersecurity.
So with the GTA cybersecurity, we received a quote from GTA already, specifically on the cybersecurity only. And then sometime 2 weeks ago, I just thought of including the MiFis, because we're also ordering MiFis from them, just to see if they could give us a good quote. But unfortunately, just because it's the MiFis will be paid under the ESF2 or the federal grants, we have to get a different quote. So we'll make sure that this comes in a different code, so that we'll get the MiFi separate from the cybersecurity, and the cybersecurity will be paid by local funds. Mr. Mike, our IT support, already responded to all the questionnaires and submitted to GTA, just to see how or to what extent the security will be given to us by GTA.
Okay, do we have any cloud server right now? Are we able to really look into a cloud server? Because we've been asking for us to be able to go beyond our local server and with cloud, just for security's sake as well. Can you guys look into? Okay, thank you.
Yes.
It's another level of security for all the different documents and information that we have here. The cybersecurity is very important, because now with the age of hacking all information and all the malwares and what have you, with spywares and what have you, with our personal accounts, especially the students. This is more to protect the students and of course the employees and everybody that are able to give personal information for the school. There's a big move now in national level that the cybersecurity will be in place, especially for schools, because the children are one big source of information about the parents' private information. So I am really interested in making sure that we have cybersecurity in our facility. Thank you, Ms. Anne. So
Yes, ma'am.
timeline again on the cybersecurity, and we have to know how much.
I think
We have to deal. We have to deal with GTA because
Yeah,
we have
it was
an
just
advanced
600.
contract with them.
Madam Chair, the quote for the cybersecurity is just $600.
Okay, additional from our Abaya lines.
Yes, additional.
Okay, that's good protection for $600. Yes, thank you so much. Yes, and that protects all the private information of all our children. Okay, anything else, Ms. Anne? Any
That's it,
questions
ma'am.
from the board?
We're good. Thank you.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, ma'am.
on the accreditation. I have met with Mrs. Santiago today to be sure that we understand where the school is in terms of keeping up with the recommendations.
And timelines, please. Yes. I think I just wanted the board to know that I met with Mrs. Santiago today, and we will continue to our dialogue on Monday to be sure that the board is up to date in how the school is addressing the recommendations from COPMIA. There had been a period of time when nothing was happening, but now they really are moving forward in working in teams, addressing the 3 domains that COPMIA has identified, and are working towards they're prioritizing. They're doing first the initiating, because that is a priority, and then they will be addressing along the areas that need to continue to improve. And so I have confidence that Mrs. Santiago will continue to move forward. And really the purpose of our meeting is to hear from her perspective, what support can we give as Board of Trustees to support that endeavor? Because our goal is to be able to maintain the 5-year accreditation term for the sake of our students. Thank you. And again, I am the missed timeline. Want to make sure that the timelines are given to the Board of Trustees, so we know it's moving. And all the domains that were assigned certain assignments to make sure that our accreditation is on track. I will appreciate to get that as often as you guys would work on certain things, addressed to the HR chair and to Trustee Tanatango, who is the curriculum chair this time. So can you just make sure that we are all in the know on what progress is happening as far as like accreditation is concerned, Ms. Anne? We're the lead team on this one. I'm sorry. Thank you.
If I can add on, and because of all the disruption with, the uncertainty with the pandemic and everything, we finally got back on track, and with the approved calendar, we have already started our domain meeting since last month. And then we're back on track with our PDs. We just had our first PD last Friday, and then on the 19th is our next PD for our domains again, to continue working on, the recommendations from Cogna, like with the curriculum maps, our standards, and also really comparing the data, because we had the data presented at our PD last week, and we needed the teachers to understand where we are at with our students. So our counselors were tasked to present the data where all the different course contents, which was the highest where the students were failing most, from kindergarten all the way up to 12th grade. That was presented. So that was an eye opener for all the teachers. And with that data, we're going to keep on moving forward. And even with the approval from our last meeting, that we're going to adjust the elementary schedules to ensure that we are addressing the fidelity of the implementation. So I just wanted to
No, I'm so excited to hear that. Thank you, Pastor D. Thank you, CEO. Because that's been, that has not been given. Those informations were for the longest time that didn't get an update. And that's crucial. I always remember ourselves, our existence. Not only we are supposed to be in good audit condition, but we also have to be in fidelity to what our accreditation is all about. So go ahead, Justin, we have the floor.
I also want to advise the board that there's been a change in the assessment sequence there, the annual transfer the students. Aspire is no longer.
Yes, I heard. Yes.
Called the smarter balance.
Yes.
And so, because we don't want that to be left out of the testing, training, and material, I have asked Mrs. Avila to prepare a memo to DOE indicating those kinds of things that we would need to prepare our teachers and our students for the, I believe it's going to take 3 weeks in May. So we've got to put information in indicating how many materials would we need from first through 12th grade. So we got to do it now because we don't want to be left behind.
Yes, yes. Well, I don't know, and you guys are the educators on this one. I don't know if we engage Dr. Sablan early on now in terms of like really looking at where we should be in terms of like, okay, the last 2 years did not have any assessment, ACT or what have you, but we also did not have our own internal assessment coming in, and I requested that. I never got any feedback. I know she was ill for a while, but I think she's good now. But those are the kind of information that as soon as we know where our students were behind for the last 2 years almost of this pandemic, we can start addressing those. If the weakness of every student on the last 2 weeks on the non-normalcy of the classroom needs to be identified now. I think Department of Education is also making sure that with this is multi-balance assessment exam. I don't know how I want to read up on this and really what really is into all of this, the content and what have you to be covered by this. I'm quite sure this is assessment of what really had happened to our students in the last 2 years without face-to-face and all the different scenarios and happening that during this pandemic, right? But we can move on ourselves and look at what Dr. Sablan can offer in terms of really assessing where we are on the last 2 years of not being able to do much, right? Not our fault. But just to be ready on where the weaknesses really lies now. Then we can address that firsthand. This is why we have assessment, because if we're going to write on GDOE, which is nice and beautiful, but they have their own strategy maybe of preparing the student on how after the smarter balance assessment happens. So what is next, right? Is this the methodology that they're using? Is this the assessment method that they're using to know where they are now after 2 years of almost non-traditional classroom schedules? So it'd be nice to just talk to Dr. Sablan, the authority, and making sure that we have a little bit of assessment, because we can talk about loss of learning. Not everybody will be on a phase or on some kind of, but let's not set aside the ones that are really brilliant students that we can pull out of the group, and then the ones that are really weak we can start addressing them so it doesn't progress into like being progression into learning loss is big time, right? I've asked for that. I've asked that Dr. Sablan do that. I think in the first year after we have COVID, until the less contact classroom happened. And I said, I wonder if we can just assess where we are, where the students are going to be after all those loss of time in meeting and everything else. Do you agree, HR Chair?
Madam Faye, I totally.
Yes, go ahead. Dr. Rose.
I'm sorry. I totally agree with you because, DOE has been doing some of that assessment and they found out that their students are really behind. So I really think that we should try and ask Dr. Sablan again to come back and do an assessment, because I know that our kids were not going face to face through all these years that we have missed because of COVID-19. But we would like to know where we're at and what is it that we need to do to catch up.
Yeah, and I think those are the instrumentalities that we want to discover, so the kids can start getting assessment. 1, 2, getting help as we identify where we are, where our students are, and just really approaching it head on, because we cannot wait for the introduction of the smarter balance when we don't even know. It might show very, very poorly on us because we did not address anything versus what GDO is doing now. Because constantly they are on the newspaper saying, look like what is happening there, where they're constantly assessing where they are on the student. So let's move and let's do it. I tasked the CEO to please contact Dr. Sablan and making sure that there is some sort of like instrument that we can, some assessment instrument that probably we can use to see where our students are for the past 2 years. It's really a big concern for us.
Will do, ma'am. We'll get back to you.
Okay, so SOPs, we're done, right? HR chair on the org chart, functional chart, we were given one. We will have to do an executive session on discussing some of these things that we have here.
Do you want to walk
With
Mrs. Avila, do you want to walk us through?
we have the org chart that's horizontal. This was given to Dr. Monta prior to her meeting, and this was, I don't know whether she presented already to the board, and so got together with the leadership. This was the proposed information that we'd like to tweak from that organization.
So just give us one, because we are very interested on the one we waited so long for the to come out with a proposal, because we never saw this and we never saw the other one as well.
Okay,
So let's pick just this one that was given by the leadership team.
okay. So if you see at the top, you have the assistant principal. There's a circle, and it ties in with this position under the auxiliary where it says attendance and safety officer. So from my understanding, when I was at GDOE, the assistant principal, there was always one identified as the discipline, that took care of discipline. So with Mr. Mori, originally he was hired as a student support. And then I guess 2-3 years down the line, he was given just the added duties of a disciplinarian. And then I'm just trying to go back to the background of how he became the discipline. So we're just suggesting that since we don't have an attendance officer at this point, right? And he is only doing the dual at this time, discipline and attendance, that he can go ahead and resume that attendance officer responsibility as safety officer. And when the assistant principal comes on board, the person can take on the discipline part. That's just how
You're looking at the normal situation in the public, as you know it, right? Is that correct? Because those are the things that you can be a little bit more innovative, right? Because, as long as the individual is willing, right?
I'm a believer that when it comes to student personnel, which includes and attendance, that it really is school administrative responsibility, because they have to never access. So if this proposal indicating that the assistant principal will be in charge of this,
it's right up there.
Of auxiliary, that like every will
Yes, but still all under
he has to be
under yes. That's why we did the rearrangement of the offices. He is just right next door to the assistant principal, so we work hand in hand with the academy.
I don't have a problem with that, as long as that person is under supervision of them.
Okay, can I ask a question, Ms. Badet? How far are we on the budget? Because this has to be finalized soon. This goes with our budget, 2022-23, correct? So we need to work on this. I think HR can call some sort of like work session on this, so we can start working on this on more detail. Okay? So now can I see a motion? Can I have a motion to defer discussion on the org chart? Motion to defer. Motion to defer the org chart. Or to have luck.
So we can work together with
Seconded by Professor Lu. Professor
I
Kita.
second.
One more.
I second, Madam Chair.
Professor Rose seconded. Good.
One more concern. This administrative assistant, I'm not sure
Yeah, we just
how
have
does that all fit into Yeah, the assistant principal and the attendance officer.
Trustee Lou, we discussed it on our work session. Okay, so we can start this all apart and start one by one. Thank you. Okay, SOP review. SOP review. Can that be so you discuss SOP? The battery is running low. Oh my god, my battery is running low. What am I gonna do? My battery is yes, let's take a break now because I want to eat too. I'm
Taking a break?
Yeah, take a break. Take a minute. 5 minutes break, Miss Anne. Last break. Thank you.
Your battery died? Is your battery dying?
Yeah, my battery is done.
That is that. So please, thank you. I brought some very good food. Look at this. You're gonna like it. I want some chicken. But it's really good. I made that.
Recording stopped.
Yes.